Hello, my name is Bob Brown, and I'm a professor of architecture at the University of Plymouth and a bit of a sci-fi geek. I'd like to introduce you to the Adjustment Bureau, directed by George Nolfi. You may hear a bit of pitter-patter from rain striking the window nearby, which is somehow appropriate given the finale of the film. But I leave it to you to find that out for yourself. I'd like to begin by asking, have you ever felt boxed in, not able to do what you'd like to do, how you'd like to do it, when you'd like to do it, with who you'd like to do it, where you'd like to do it? Has this left you feeling as if your freedom has been restricted? At such times, it is almost as if the life we're living has been scripted within a narrative written by another. Such metaphorical framing of our life is the power of good science fiction. While crafting a story set in some other world and our time, it speaks to us and helps us make sense of our lives in the here and now. Released in 2011, The Adjustment Bureau was well received by critics at the time, with the well-respected Roger Ebert identifying it as a smart and good movie. Based on Philip Dick's short story, The Adjustment Team, the film stars Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, and Anthony Mackie. Its narrative centers on the life of US Congressman David Norris, who accidentally discovers that the direction of his life is controlled by agents, angels perhaps, of the Adjustment Bureau, who look after us, making adjustments here and there to keep us all on course with the chairman's, God perhaps, plan for the world. The twist in the movie centers around Norris meeting a woman, but their desire to be together goes against that plan. Cinematic reviews and more scholarly discourse have attended to the film's discourse on predestination versus free will, positing it as being central to the human condition. While resonating with my own sense of the film, my reading of the movie is drawn more to considerations of self-other relations. I will consider this here within three convergent strands, drawing attention to the three lines in the movie and paralleling them with the three theoretical points of reference. Surprisingly, given that my discussion is about self-other relations, and for those of you that know me, equally surprising, none of these references are Mikhail Bakhtin, but then I just got them in there anyway. The first line is, "It is in black and white," a reference to the presumably absolute, immutable nature of the chairman's plan. The statement reflects Western philosophy's axial nature and tendency to delineate things with Cartesian-like clarity into specific categories. This tendency carries over into relations between self and other, in which the other is outside our own individual or shared cultural orientation. Sadly, such thinking is too often and alarmingly reflected in current political discourse, in which, as David Harvey points out, the other is in this antony treated as, and objectively reduced to, a self-sustaining entity with causal powers. Ignored in this is the capacity of the other, and even the agents of the Adjustment Bureau, to be human. The second line is, "Your future is about your choices, not theirs," uttered by the Adjustment Bureau agent Harry to David Norris. It speaks of a powerful entity who would impose a narrative upon ourselves. A tendency towards such projections is revealed in discourse on culture and politics, in which the self is totalized into narratives that render us concretized objects in the gaze of the other. Ignored is the capacity of the individual, and extending to objectified cultures, to transcribe their own historicity. As Stuart Hall and Paul Degay attest, identities are never unified, never singular, but multiply across different, often intersecting and antagonistic discourses, practices, and positions. Identities are not who we are or where we come from, so much as what we might become. The third line is, "All I have is the choices I make." Declared by David Norris, it speaks of his desire to assert his free will in the face of the chairman's plan. Yet rather than continue the framing of the discussion here as the self against some powerful other, I would like to turn this around and posit that the powerful other can equally be ourself. Indeed, the overarching plans that delimit us are arguably as much our own as that of some other. We live our lives, as Amitav Ghosh challenges, as if following uniformitarian expectations that are rooted in the regularity of bourgeois life. Such presumption renders us surprised and struggling to cope with the shifts forced upon us by sudden events. Yet rather than residing in some ordered space, we live in a world that is defined by change. I hope this introduction has been of interest. For more information, please see the Arts Institute, University of Plymouth website. Enjoy the film. Thank you.